Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Live from Yellowstone in Idaho, right side of Yellowstone. This probably will be the last year in English in Yellowstone, Bezer Hashem. Traveling back to Chicago, from Chicago to New York, from New York to Miami, from Miami back to Chicago, from Chicago to Brazil, and from Brazil to Eretz Yisrael. All that in the upcoming week, Be'ezer Hashem, should have shiurim some very, very interesting places. Rabbi said today we have a phenomenal daf, very, very geschmack stuff. But before we get to the daf, I want to thank Mark Bernstein for buying two psukim. Vayivarach Yisam Elokim, Vayomer Lahem Elokim, Pruravu, Umilus Ha'aretz Zecheshu, Urudu B'dgas Hayom Uvevesh Shumayim, Uvechol Chayir Meses Al Haaretz. You should hear psuras toivos. And Hamalach Hagoyelo Yisimi Kol Ra, Yivarach Sana Orev, Yikari Behem Shemi, V'Shem Avisai, V'Rom Yitzchak, V'Gula Roiv, B'Kerev Aretz. Two psukim, Zgula for Zara Shel Kayama. Ephraim Siegfried, Vayar Elokim, Es Kol Asher Osav Yini Toiv Moed, Vayerev, Vayivoiker Yom Hashishi. I wonder if Mark Bernstein, if somebody approached him and said, hey, can I share a pasuk with you? Maybe you'll let them buy the pasuk. Who knows? Yisachar Rothbaum, Vitzivisis Berchosi Lochem Bashona Hashishis Va'osas Es Hatfua L'Shloish Hashanim Azgula for Parnoso Yisher Koyach. Rabbi said, this kid is a character. I saw he's a character right away, but then I found out that it's Dave Sharfman's son. Look at this. He's geschmack. Good morning, Rabbi Sai. And he didn't skip a beat. The was when he was supposed to. I thought he's gonna. That's worth another view. Hold on, we got to see this again. It's not a joke. His moves are insane. It's a classic. Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Okay, so the hand went, he skipped it, but the actual was perfect. Doing the daf in Iceland. Isn't this the same guy that did the daf at the China Wall? I don't know who this is even. The Rosenbergs promoting the daf on their layover in France. Baruch and Jeff in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, giving nachas to the father.
There you go.
Good morning, Rabbi
Beautiful turnout Thursday night for the Shishi Shir at the Tom's River satellite location. Check this out. Beautiful. Shkoyach. Suchi Verzberger, Tsevet Bet Chilkia, Me'ein Oilom Haba. Boy say, I don't want to be the bearer of Psuras Royce, but Peretz Chaim Levine's father was Nifter. Peretz Chaim came in to visit his father, so Baruch Dayan Emes, Avram Yaakov ben Reuven Halevi, the Levi was already, I believe he was buried in the Shemesh, I'm not even sure. Okay. Peretz Chaim himself is going to be in Kensington. What a big part of MDY. And also Eli Ashir, big part of MDY. His father was also Nifter. Shiva, I think, Mamish, the last day or two, are in New Jersey, Long Branch, New Jersey. Rabbi said the official edition MDY Shas, the Masech, the Spatz by Zevin Yal Shulov, Perek Shvi, dedicated by the Benedict family, huge part of MDY. Daf Tzadik Dalid, Bobby and Grandpa Palmer, or Bubby, maybe Bubby and Grandpa Palmer, in honor of David Palmer on his bar mitzvah. Oh, how else do you spell Bubby? The U maybe. Okay, Mazel Tov, David. David Solomon the Masechta, dedicated memory of Avi Meir, Shmuel, Baruch, Ben Reb Chaim, Tzvi, Doizer, and the Baruch, Nifta, Yud Zayin, Yor. The Palchi Foundation may our live not heard during Ben Azman and bring us closer to the Yemei Gula V'Simcha, Anonymous Hatzlacha, Baruchnis, Uvigashmis, and thank you to Chief Benny, Anonymous for complete refor Shlema and Arichas Yom to Leah Bas Esther, Chaim and Leah Levi in honor of the MDY family, Anonymous for my birthday and it's chus for Hatzlacha with my family, Baruchni Megashmi. Ari Simon Refuah Shlema Avimari Baruch Ben Miriam, the Tzvi's Refuah Shlema to Rivka Naomi Basel Shevabatya. The Muncie MDY firefighters, Lili Nishmas, our unforgettable chief Chaim Gabriel Ben Ariel Jacobson Zechor Vrach. The Spanish Shir sponsors Refuah Shlema to a dear friend of the Shir Bespanyol monthly. Innovations says Schos for Akiva Simcha Ben Feiga. Baruch Hu should give him his oiros. Pischuli Pesach, Baruch should give him that little Isairos of Tshuva and Rivka Yehudis Basyafa Chaya and our kids to the month. Before Shlema Mordechai Ben Esther, before Sayela Daniel Zev Ben Ayela Esther. Rabbi Isai, we're starting a brand new Mishnah on the bottom of Tzadik Gimel Amud Beis. I love this Mishnah. I love this Gemara, I should say, this whole sugya. And here's the question. Question number one. Are you, I think I was over on this, and you were also probably over on this in your lifetime, in some variety or another, but let's say there's a particular person that they invited you for Shabbos, now you have to invite them, okay? Just social norms. And you don't really want them for Shabbos. So you know what you do? You find out that they are going to so-and-so for Shabbos. So you go over to them and say, hey, you want to come for Shabbos? And they say, I can't. I can't. I just accepted an invitation by Pliny. Oh, what a shame. I wish. Okay. Is that okay? Is that mutter? So that's what we call Genevas Das. But here's the bigger one. You're at a Sudas Shabbos. You're at your own home, and there's a guest. And you were planning on drinking that beautiful bottle of wine, your $200 bottle of wine. You were planning on drinking whether this guy came or not. But you pull it out and you want to make him feel good. What's wrong with making somebody feel good? You say a shtickle sheker to make him feel good. There's a tayelis. And it's interesting because we're going to see in the Gemara that sometimes it's okay, sometimes it's not. In this particular case, you say, I'm opening up this bottle of wine because you're here as my guest. You make him feel good. And the truth is, had he not been here, you'd have also opened up the bottle of wine. What's wrong? It's Gnevas Das. Gnevas Das, it would be Asr. Okay? You can think of many, many different cases where I know of a case, a certain person, I found out that he's going to another place, another chasana, so I invited him to my kid's chasana. I was hoping he wouldn't be able to come, and I didn't want to be uncomfortable, and I invited him. That's Gnevas Das. Gnevas Das. So Zok the Heilige Mishnah. Sheleach Adam Yerech Lenochri Shegid Hanasha B'Toicha. The whole parak is talking about Gid Hanasha, the sciatic nerve that we're not allowed to eat because of what happened with Yaakov Avinu and the Malach. You're allowed to send an entire Yorech, means a thigh, the whole thigh, to the non-Jew that has a Gid Hanasha inside. Now I want to ask you another question. Here's a much bigger question. Are you allowed to commit Gnevas Das against a non-Jew? Gnevas Das. You give your goita that works at you in the house, you give her a bottle of wine, you tell her, I bought it just for you. No, you didn't buy it for you. It's something that you can't drink. It's strafe. Gnevas Das. Make her feel good. Now she'll work better. Or the bigger thing is, and I think this will be hard for people in business, a little bit of a trick, a little bit of you say something to the vendor, he's not a Jew. No, so you said a little bit, and you made him think a certain thing, and then he gives you a better price. Is that okay? We're going to see that it's not okay. It's a big, big chiddush. That's what I'm telling you. This sugya, today's daf, is mind-boggling. There's a lot of chidushim that we don't know. And it's going to help us better in our business, the way we deal in business, especially with Mishaluni, and even with the non-Jews, the way we have to act. It's a big, big chidushim over here. Big, big chidushim. Akol panim. The Mishnah starts off saying that you're allowed to send a thigh that has a gidan nasha, because it's obvious the way you sent it that the gid is still in there, and even if a Jew buys that meat, he's not going to be nichshal. He's not going to eat the gidan nasha. Says the Gemara, shleima in chatuchaloi. Why does the Mishnah say yerech? Yerech means a whole thigh. Seems like if it's cut up, like we buy today, a pound or 2 pounds of meat, that would be also to sell to the guy. Now, before we start, I just have to give you Agdama. In fact, I was going to give you this Agdama, but our guys did a phenomenal job here, and the Agdama is right in this video.
אלא במקום שמכריזים.
סבא, מה זה מקום שמכריזים?
פעם,
מכריזים, to announce.
כשרוב הקצבים בעיר היו יהודים, גם הגויים קנו מהם בשר, ואחר כך מכרו אותו בדוכנים שלהם בשוק. לכן יהודי היה יכול לקנות מהם בשר, בלי לחשוש שהבשר טריפה.
אוי ואבוי, זה טרפה! לך תודיע בשוק. נפל בישראל לבני חילה! נפל בישראל לבני חילה!
כלומר, היום נמכר בשר טריפה לגויים. מרגע שנשמעה ההכרזה, היהודים ידעו. היום אין קונים בשר מן הגויים. אבל ביום שלא הכריזו, קנו מהם כרגיל. וכאן התעוררה הבעיה.
Okay, so what do we just see? You're talking about a city, let's say it's Bnei Brak. Most of the butchers are Jewish, so even a non-Jew that's selling meat, let's say you have an Arab selling meat, you're allowed to buy from him. You hear this? Because most of the butchers in the city are Jewish. Where are they getting the meat from? They're getting it from a Jew. So even the non-Jew is buying from a Jew, so you could buy and he's reselling to the Jew. But that's if it's in a place where they announce. What does that mean? If there's a treifa, so somebody gets up on the table and says, hey, no, for Bisra Chayla, B'nai Chayla. He says a certain lashon that tells us, hey, there's meat that's going to the non-Jew. It's treif. And if it's treif, people are going to know not to buy that day. So there's no concern that you're going to be buying treif. Why? Because if there is treif in the city, there's an announcement made that there's treif, and therefore you know not to buy from the non-Jew. But if it's a place that they don't announce for whatever reason, you don't want to upset the goyim, so you don't announce, now you can't buy from the guy because perhaps he's selling treif. So the Gemara says, the bottom line on Daf Samach Tzadik Gimel Amud Beis. What's the case? If it's a place where they don't announce, and if they don't announce, it's also to buy from the guy because you don't know what kind of meat he has. So it would always be also to buy. Every day it would be also. Says the Gemara, so what's the problem? Why do you have to send the guy only the whole thigh? You could send him chopped up pieces of meat. Why? There's no concern. The Jew's not going to buy from the guy. This is a city that you don't buy from the guy. So we have to talk about it's a place that they announce, and today they didn't announce. Oh, so if they didn't announce, Shleimo Nami lo l'shadilai. How could you send the non-Jew a full thigh? He'll cut it up and sell it. And it's talking about there was no announcement that day. So there's no announcement. Everybody's going to buy from the guy. And you sold the guy the larger piece. So he's going to chop it up into pieces, and you're allowed to buy those smaller pieces. But the smaller pieces have a get anash in it. Says Gemara 3 ways to answer this. You could say it's talking about a place that they make announcements. If they make announcements, it's mutter to buy from the guy. It's talking about a place that they don't make the announcements, it's also to buy from the guy. But we had a question on each one. It's talking about a place that they announce, and therefore you're allowed to buy from the guy. The guy made the idea. So the guy, the Jew cuts it in a certain way, and the guy cuts it in a certain way. And Mamela, I'm not concerned that the guy is going to cut it up and then sell to the Jew, because then we'll know that it's not good meat. We're talking about a place that they don't announce. So if they don't announce, what's the concern? Nobody buys from the guy. We are concerned you're going to buy from the guy because a Jew is going to see how a Jew sold to the guy. So you have Reuven just watching. Reuven sees how Shimon sold a nice piece of meat to the guy. So Reuven is going to come and buy it from the guy because he doesn't know that there's a Gera Nash in there. It's a place that you don't buy from guy, but he's going to be my head. He's going to say, hey, I saw it with my own eyes. There's nothing to be concerned. I saw a Jew selling it to him. Okay? The Ritva adds that the Jew heard the Yid telling him, this is kosher meat. But the Jew didn't say that he removed the Gera Nash, and the guy buying it is not going to know there's a Gera Nash in there. Okay. A third pshat, and this brings us into this phenomenal Gemara with Agadata and all sorts of very interesting halachas. It is prohibited to pretend that you worked hard for the guy, that you worked hard and removed the Gera Nasha. The guy is going to think to himself, oh, what a great Jew. Why is he giving me this piece? Because he knows he went ahead and he removed the Gera Nasha before he gave it to me. Shmuel, and listen to this. I think this is important. Might be the most important thing of the whole Masechta. I don't want to exaggerate, but hey, if you're going to take away one yisoid from the whole Masechta, you live in Chutz La'aretz, even in Eretz Yisrael. Damar Shmuel, Asur lignoiv das habriois. It's asur to steal the mind of other people. In other words, you're not allowed to make people think certain things when they're not true. Va'afilu daitoi shel goy. We have to repeat this. It's asur to do gnevas das. Va'afilu daitoi shel goy. The Rambam says you're not allowed to add one word that could change a word of pitui, a word that will convince the guy to do something. And certainly, the Achronim say, certainly not in business. It's hard to comprehend. In business, tell the guy that the house you're selling him, the car you're selling him, yada yada, fill in the blank. You know what I'm talking about. It's never been in an accident. Whatever it is. But he's a guy, who cares? No, it's Asr. Asr, some Rishonim say it's the Deraisa, some say it's the Rabbanan. Regardless, it's Asr. It's Asr for us to say a word, whatever it is. You know what I'm talking about. We all do business with the guy. So I said, he thinks that my house is a better house because I said one word. Okay. I didn't have 10 people. What? Gnev is das. Mental pickpocketing, marketing, and distribution. Okay? We kids, you're not allowed to tell them A when it's really B. No, that's Gneva Mamish. But Gneva's Das would be you tell the guy, oh, mamish our case. You have this guy that works for you, and the appropriate thing is to invite him to your kid's wedding. But you're thinking to yourself, what's the guy going to do at my kid's wedding? I need goyim now at my kid's wedding. So you tell him, you invite him after you know that he can't, like he already has a trip planned somewhere else. So you go over to him and you say, hey, Johnny, I want you to come to my son's wedding. Oh, I'm so sorry, boss. I'm going to Hawaii that day. Oh, really? You're going to Hawaii? Oh, I didn't know. Oh, I really want you to come to the wedding. That's Gnevas Das, and that's also even to the Goy. So the Gemara says, you should know that Shmuel never said it straight out, but we're able to learn from Shmuel. What happened? The Shmuel was going over the river on a boat. You go pay. He tells the shamish, his mashbak, he says, please do me a favor, go pay the driver. Paisei. So he went and he paid him. Vikbad. And Shmuel was very upset. So from here we see that Gnevas Akum is also. What's the story? My time Ikbad. Why was Shmuel upset? Omar Abaya, Tarnagoyas treif avoy. What he gave him was a chicken that had a treif in it. Yavan alei bimar de shchuta. And he gave it to him. The second pshat in Rashi is instead of a shchuta. The guy thought that he's giving him a nice shechted chicken. In fact, it was a treifa. Rav Amar Ampaka Amar Leila Shkuyi. Shmuel tells his mashbak, I want you to give him anpaka. That's a glass. Like today we have small shot glasses for whiskey, for tequila. Then they used to have a special glass for wine that wasn't diluted with water. So he went ahead. Shmuel told him, go give him some non-diluted wine. And he went and he gave him diluted wine. That's why he's upset at him. That was the Gnevas Das. So we have go pay him. Very fun. Says Gemara of Chimiklalamai. Okay, isn't this pretty obvious that Shmuel held that you shouldn't do Gnevas Das to a guy? Why is the Gemara saying, well, he didn't say Mefurish, he could learn from the story. Says Gemara, no, you know why he was upset? Because why did you have a tray of chicken with you? What you should get rid of a tray of chicken. Somebody might come to eat it. It's a problem. He wasn't upset on the Gnevas Das. He was upset on the fact that he had a tray of chicken with him. And according to the shita that he told him to give him non-diluted wine, he was upset at him that he didn't listen to him. I, Shmuel, told you to give him non-diluted wine. You gave him diluted wine. What kind of chutzpah is that? Perhaps it has nothing to do with Gnevas Das. But Lamaisa, the Shulchan Aruch paskins that we cannot do Gnevas Das to a non-Jew. Tanya, Rabbi Isai, if we're makbid on it, we're not going to lose. We're going to make more money. It's not like, oh, but I need it for business. See, here's the thing. I spoke to people just recently. Somebody told me a lashon like that. I was mama shocked. Like, look, I never steal. I don't lie. But in business, it's different. It's part of business. He tells me. He starts giving me a new cook. It's business. I heard this a bunch of times. It's business. Business is business. It's not true. It's Gnevas Das. But we're going to see. If the guy fools himself, you didn't say anything, and he thinks XYZ, that's his problem. That's something else. But for you to mislead him with you say something. You're not saying, you're not a shakran, but you misled him because you said ABC and he understood XYZ. That's a problem. So we're going to see in the Gemara. Tanya. So yeah, that's what I told you. It's Geshmak Sugya. Don't ask your friend to come have a meal by you on Shabbos when you know he's not going to come. Why is he not going to come? Because that day you found out he's going to be on vacation. That day somebody else invited him. So it's also for you to do that. Don't start loading up gifts and you know that he doesn't accept gifts. You have a giant barrel, 50-liter barrel. You know, everybody knows that if you open up a bottle of wine today, it starts spoiling immediately. It probably won't even last the next Shabbos. You open up a giant barrel, 50-liter barrel. It's not going to last the next Shabbos. You open it, he comes over to you. He comes for Shabbos. You open up a barrel of wine. He thinks, wow, he's opening up a 50-liter barrel for me. But the truth is, you already sold it to somebody else. On Sunday, you're going to deliver it. So that's Gnevas Das. You come to him, you know he's not going to use your shampoo. You come to him with an empty bottle. And you tell him, here, I got some shampoo for you, geschmacky stuff. And he says, no, I don't need the shampoo. But I was just trying to be nice to him. I didn't have any shampoo, but I was trying to be nice. Awesome. Oh, so here's an exception to the rule. And that is that if you're trying to show other people that you're mechaberim, he's your Rav, he's your this, you tell people, look what I want to give the Rav. I want to give him these gifts. I want to give him shampoo. I want to give him wine. And now other people are mechabed the Rav because of that. They see how much you're mechabed him. And that gives the Rav kavod. It's not the one-on-one. The one-on-one is also, even though you're giving him kavod at the same time. That's not mutter. But if you're doing it in front of other people and giving the kavod to the Rav in front of other people, that's okay. Ula was once a guest by Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda opened up barrels, the 50-liter barrels that he already sold to somebody else. How could he do it? Says Gemara, you do it. Rabbi Yehuda told Ula, by the way, I sold these barrels, and I'm not opening them for you. They're already sold. I'm opening for you for the cup. Don't worry, I'm not gonna have a loss, a 49-liter loss here. I already sold it. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Yehuda loved Ula, the Galadar, Ula, the Galadar. You know what it means when the Galadar comes to your house? Yeah, he would open up a 50-liter bottle just for Ula. Whether he sold it or not is not important. He would have opened it just for him 100%. I know people that would do it. I was at Shmuel Wasserman's house, Pesach time. He was opening up $500 bottles of wine. Why? Because that's what he wanted to do. That's what he wanted to be mechabed with it. So regardless of if he was able to sell it later or not sell it later, which obviously he didn't, but I'm saying people do that. When they have somebody that they like, whatever it is, they open up a nice bottle. He wanted to be mechabed Ula. So yes, it was sold and he wasn't going to lose on it. But even if it wasn't sold, he would still open up that barrel of wine. He goes into the Oval's house and he knows the guy is not going to drink from the wine. He's an Oval. He's not allowed to drink wine. And he has this bottle of wine. It's making a lot of noise. He's going in, Kilo, like he's a nice guy. He knows he's not going to take it. Or fill your bottle with, instead of bringing vodka, he brings water. And the guy thinks it's vodka. But he's not going to drink it anyways. He's awful. He's fooling him. If there's like a lot of choshev people from the city, the mayor and his people, not in New York, in other places, mutar. Because now you're giving kavod to the ovel in front of other people. And that we said is mutar. That's mikashkish, makes noise. Tana Rabbana. You're not allowed to sell a shoe of an animal, a leather shoe of an animal that died, and pretend that it came from an animal that was shechted. There's two concerns. First of all, you're tricking the guy. The guy doesn't want a shoe with leather from a dead animal, which is inferior, an animal that died from old age or whatever, not good leather. You have to be careful because the shoe might contain some. How did the animal die? Maybe it was bit by a snake and has snake venom in it. Here, something like this. Send him. Now, oil will float to the top. It's heavier. And oil is more expensive than wine. So you lie. Now, he didn't pay for it. It's a gift. So okay, I'm allowed to give any gift I want, right? No. He gives his friend, it's really wine, he gives him oil. So now, in those days, they used to dip the bread in oil. See, I got oil. Let me invite 20 people. So he invites all these people. When they came, during the meal, he realizes, wait a minute, he put his ladle inside and he pulls out a red substance. What's going on here? He smells it, it's wine. Oive. So now all his guests are sitting there and they don't have anything to dip their bread in. He went and he hung himself. Okay, so maybe you're not allowed to do something like this. It could cause somebody to lose his life. So don't trick him in the beginning and say, I brought you a whole barrel of oil, but in fact it's really wine. Okay? Another Maisa, to preface the story, a number of times when we were growing up, we grew up very, very poor. And a few times we had guests, or my father would invite somebody in shul or whatever, and my mother wasn't prepared. So my mother would give her portion to the guest. She would say, I'm not hungry, I can't, I'm not in the mood, I'm sick, whatever it is, because they had exactly the amount that they needed. Like each person got that piece of chicken. There's not a single piece extra. So now that my father invited a guest, you saw a guy in shul that really needed to go. So she had to give up her portion. So says the Gemara, based on this, if that guest wanted to give his portion to somebody else, it would be very problematic. Why? Because l'maisa, there's no more food in the kitchen. So if the guest decided, I want to give my portion to one of the kids, and the balabayis will go and get me another piece of chicken in the kitchen, but there is no piece of chicken in the kitchen. Listen what happened over here. There was a terrible story that happened. I'm not sure if it's before this psak or after, but it's halach in Shulchan Aruch, that if a guest wants to give food to the children of the host, he has to ask permission. First of all, sometimes it's not healthy for the kids. The host doesn't want his kids to have stuff with dye or whatever it is. So don't give them the food. Ask permission. So listen to this story. Ask permission. There's a person, during the famine, he invited 3 guests. And he had nothing to serve them. Ella keshalish beitzim. There's a shaila how to be goris here. Shalish beitzim or kishalish beitzim. Some people are goris 3 eggs, or the amount of 3 eggs. That's all. Each one got an egg. You can imagine it was famine. This kid didn't eat for who knows how long. He's starving. And he goes and he begs the guest if he could have an egg. Each one gave their own thing to the kid. He found this kid, one egg stuffed in his mouth. We have a Givaldic picture. Mamish like this. One egg stuffed in his mouth, one egg in the right hand, one egg in the left hand. The kid is starving. He killed this kid at a busha. What am I going to give the guest now? He killed this kid. Story's not over. When the wife saw that her son is dead, somebody just asked me, I forgot who it was. The lashon v'nafla seems like the person fell off by himself. We just had it a few days ago, or a few weeks ago, 2 weeks ago maybe. V'nafla v'meisa means she jumped off the roof. She committed suicide. Says Gemara, he also went up to the rooftop and he jumped off. From this story, 3 Jewish souls were lost because the guests didn't listen to the halacha and they gave the kid food without asking. Micah Mashmalan. Why does it say that Rebbe Elazar said 3 people died because, if you read the story, 3 people died. So why does Rebbe Elazar say, and 3 people died because of this? The Kula Michael Mashmalan, the Kula Rebbe Elazar Yaakov, because the Tana forgot to say that Rebbe Elazar Yaakov saying this. So at the end of the story, it sticks in Rebbe Elazar Yaakov's name, just so you know that the whole story is Rebbe Elazar Yaakov. The whole halacha is Rebbe Elazar Yaakov. But there's no need for it. You're right. Tana Rabbana. Hashelech yerech lechaveroi shleima enu tzorch she'itol himeno gidra nashim. So if you send a thigh to your friend, to another Jewish person, if it's whole, you don't have to take out the gidra nashim, because the Jew knows he has to remove it. Chatucha, but if it's cut up, you have to. If it's cut up. U'magai, bein chatucha, bein shleima, ein tzorch lidol imeno gidra nashim. So if it's a non-Jew, so it doesn't matter. Even if it's cut up, you don't have to take out the gidra nashim. And we're going to see why. And you're not allowed to sell a treif to a guy. This would be a big problem if you're passing like this, because we sell treif to the guy. All the treifs in the shlachtos go to the guy. And one reason is because you're fooling him. The guy, if he knew that it's treif, he wouldn't buy it. We're concerned that the non-Jew is going to turn around and sell it to the Jew. Another halacha. So we have 3 halachas here. We have the Reisha, the Seifa, and the Seifa of the Seifa. The last halacha is here. Don't tell a non-Jew, please go to the store and buy me a piece of meat. Here's $100, go buy me some meat. Because of 2 things. Because the guy that you're using as your messenger might steal from the Jew. You don't want the guy to not pay him. The guy has your $100. He goes and he flashes $100 to a Jewish butcher. He buys $100 worth of meat, then he runs out of there without giving the $100 to the Jew. So it's not dafka meat, I guess. It's everything. If the non-Jew shows up, it's obvious that he's not a non-Jew. He's wearing a non-Jewish necklace. I don't know what. Comes to the store, so the Jew selling the meat is going to think, he's buying for himself. Let me give him the treifus I just had today. Let me give him the nevela. And then the guy's going to come back to the Jew and give him the treif and the nevela. Turning of the daf by Dar Global and Schus Tamati and the MDY Shidduch team may all turn the page to the new chapter soon. Yishkoyach Dar Global. So let me tell you, the updated numbers. It's exciting every day. It's more and more exciting. Right now, as of I don't know how many, well, he's in New York, so it's not so long ago. 1,150 resumes uploaded, and 40, sorry, here's the new date, 1131. It was 1131 profiles, and 46 shiduchim, 46 matches. What happens with those matches? They go out, don't go out. But we have a few people going out already. Baruch Hashem, 46 matches, meaning that the boy and the girl both said yes. 46. What a number in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Who knows where this could go? Okay? Omamar, what could you do? Tell people about it. Help them upload, because you can't just upload for somebody else. Convince them. Some people are weary of it. If people are weary, so first of all, they should know that it's private. Nobody sees the profile. And 46 matches. Some people are nervous. Shatchanim. Well, the shatchanim won't nudge you. A lot of people, that's that email that the girl sent. Shatchanim are very pushy and this and that. Yeah, but it's only if you agree and he agrees, and then the shadchan is not going to just, you are basically enlisting the shadchan. You're saying, here's the match that I like. Here's a shadchan. Now, maybe we could help you out and get a shadchan that you want or whatever, because we don't really care. It's not, we're doing this for free. We don't care what the shadchan is. Okay? So think about it. Maybe you know somebody that needs this, and everybody can use this with favosnish. All ages, all types. Omar Mar. So now we go into this. I want to say Yishkoyach to Yoshi, because on Shabbos I was like, okay, on Motzei Shabbos I'm going to get together, I'm going to put together these charts. And sure enough, these exact charts that I was going to put in, I wonder if, I didn't even click. Let me see something. No, I can't do it. But I was starting to build the chart, and then I looked weiter and I saw that Yoshi put the charts in. So, Yishkoyach to Yoshi. So, when you send a thigh to a goy, we're just going through the three halachas that we learned. The Gemara is going to explain how it all fits together. If you're sending a thigh to a non-Jew, even if it's cut up, you don't have to remove the Gidan Nashon. But my skina, what are we talking about? Because it doesn't seem to go where. Because the Mishnah says it has to be whole. Now we're saying even cut is okay. But my skina, if it's a place that they make announcements. In other words, it's a place that you could buy from the non-Jew. What's the reason that you're allowed to give him, sell him a cut-up piece? Since that day, there was no announcements. The Jew will come to buy from the non-Jew because you're allowed to buy from non-Jew. So it must be that we're talking about a place that there's no achrazah. So let's see the chart, the ratio. You're allowed to give the guy. You don't have to remove. Okay? But a machrizim. You see, all the way on the right, a machrizim. Now let's go to the middle case. What's the middle case? You're not allowed to sell a nevel and a the guy. First we said because we're just repeating. Because you're fooling him. Because he might sell to another Jew. If it's talking about like a machrizim, then what? That's a place that there's no achrazah. So in other words, you're not allowed to buy from a non-Jew. No Jew will buy from him because it's a place that you don't announce. If you don't announce, you're not allowed to buy from a non-Jew. Push the button, boom. The middle case is talking about a case where they announce. And therefore, if you sell this to the guy, he might go and turn around and sell to the Jew, and a Jew will be eating treif. Now let's go to the last case. You shouldn't use, let's say you have a guy working for you, he's a non-Jew. Here, take $100, go buy meat from a kosher butcher. Why? Two reasons. Because he might steal the money from the butcher. To see a non-Jew showing up, a customer, I'll sell him the treifas. And then the Jew will end up eating treif. As the Gemara if it's like the middle case. That what? The middle case we said is a place that they announce. And if it's a place that announce, you're allowed to buy meat from a non-Jew. He used to have a treifa, wait a minute. If there's a treifa that day, they would have made announcements. But they didn't announce. Let's push the button. So the Seifa is talking about a place that there's no achraza, you're not allowed to buy from the guy. As the Gemara, it makes no sense. You tell me three cases. You just said three cases straight. It turns out that the first case is a machrizim, as you see in the chart. The last case is a machrizim. The middle case is machrizim. So it's a sandwich, and that doesn't really go well. Usually, everything is consistent. Amar Abaye in Reisha v'Seifa b'Mokim Shei Machrizim, Mitziyasa b'Mokim Shei Machrizim. When I was learning this, and this is many times I learned sugis like this, and I say to myself, wow, it just seems like Abaya always says this shita. It's Abaya l'shitasa. I might be completely off because I have a bad memory, but it just seems like Abaya says, yeah, you have a problem, that's the way it is. Yeah, the reish is a machrizim, the safe is a machrizim, the middle is not. The middle is machrizim. And then always, Rava comes along after ask my chavrusa, ben the fencer. It just seems like it's a by Rava, mamish l'shitasam. The Rava comes along and says, no, let me explain to you. It's not, no, that's a problem to say everything is a machrizim. So, let's just do this. Abaye says, yes, it's just like this. Comes Rava and says, no, everything is consistent. All three are green, machrizim. It's a place where they announce, and if it's a place they announce, you're allowed to buy from the non-Jew. So let's see how it works. In fact, there was achraz in those places. Here you can see he put in the middle box, hichrizu in the first and the last, and the middle one in red, it says lo yichrizu. There's no achraz, and we're concerned that he's going to steal the money. Rashi comes Rashi and says it's consistent, but the other way. Everything is a machrizim. The reason why you're not allowed to sell to the guy, because we're concerned, what was the middle one again? Why can't you sell a tray for the guy? Because we're concerned he's going to sell it in front of another Jew. And the second Jew that doesn't know it's flying, he's going to think that he sold him kosher meat, and he's not going to hear that it's a treifa. Says Gemara, what exactly do you say? What exactly do you announce on the table? Omer Rabbi Yitzchak Bar Yosef, we saw in the first video, they scream, Nafal Bisrael Livnei Chela. Meat fell to the non-Jew. Says Gemara, why don't you just say the truth? Why don't you say that a treifa went to the non-Jew, and then people will be really nervous about it? Says Gemara, then the non-Jew won't buy. If you scream, hey, it's a treifa, they're going to get all nervous by it. Says Gemara, but by you not saying that it's a treifa, you're fooling the non-Jew. And we just established you're not allowed to fool the non-Jew. Says the Gemara, Inu hu the komatu nafshayu. The non-Jew is fooling himself. What's the pshat? We have to understand, l'chayra doesn't fit with what we said before. Because before, so we'll just repeat. Usually, a piece of meat is kosher. If it's kosher, the guy is going to think that it's kosher. But you selling him a piece of meat that's not kosher, you're fooling him, and that we said is awesome. Over here it's different. Why is it different? Because there was an announcement made. There was an announcement, the meat fell to the non-Jew. So the non-Jew should have asked, what's going on here? What do you mean it fell? Why did it fall? Why are you making an announcement? And they would have told him it's treifa. By him not asking, then he fooled himself. Well, there's enough gemina. If you offer information and you're misleading, that's also. If you don't offer any information at all, that's also misleading. Yeah, if you don't offer information, it's misleading. But if there's a certain announcement going around town, and the guy should have known from this announcement that it's treif, and he didn't, then you say that's his problem. Says Gemara Kehod, the Marzutra Bereder of Nachman. Listen to this story. Mamish got this stuff, but amazing stuff. The Marzutra Bereder of Nachman have a causal mesichro lebeimuchos. Marzutra was walking from one city to the other. V'Rava v'Rav Safra have a causal mesichro. And Rava and Safra were walking towards him. They bump into each other. Who saw var? Listen to this. Marzutra thought lapi the causal. He thought that Rav Safra and Rava were walking towards him to meet him, to greet him. Wow, it's so nice of you that you came to greet me. You didn't have to. Why do you have to be matriach yourself? He's being blunt with him. We didn't know that you're coming. Sorry. We were not coming for you. We didn't know you're coming. But in order not to bother him too much, he says, had we known, well, then we would have gone way out of our way. But I have to tell you the truth, we didn't know. We didn't know you were coming. Why do you have to be so honest with him? He thought that we were honoring him, and now you took away his honor. What was the point? We're fooling him. Says Rava, no, that was his problem. He fooled himself. So we have to really understand what's the nafka between all these cases. So in this particular case, they didn't say we're coming to you. They didn't say, hey, Marzutra, we came to greet you. They didn't say anything. They were just walking. You want to think that's you? Let's say you open up a bottle of wine in your house. It's a $200 bottle of wine. You have a guest. And the guest says, wow, thank you so much for opening up the bottle of wine for me. He made his own assumption. You don't have to fix that, says Rava. That you don't have to fix. If he thought on his own that you're opening up the bottle of wine for him, fine. The problem is when you open your mouth and you say, I'm opening up a bottle of wine for you. It's murdik. So Rabbi said, we're done, but let's understand and let's remember what we learned today. When a guest comes to you for Shabbos, you don't lie to him and say, I'm doing all the special stuff for you, when in fact you're not doing it for him, you're doing it for yourself. If Lamashal, sometimes people, a guy comes to the shir, he traveled from Beersheba to the shir. So don't say, oh, I came special for the shir. And they don't. Usually they say, no, I came for a chasa, but I'm just going to jump over for a shir. Sometimes you think you're making somebody feel good, but by what? Say, I came all the way from Eretz Yisrael to New York for your chasana. It's not true. You came for a business deal. And the chasana is also another thing. So you got to be honest about it. But more importantly, from all these things, are you allowed to, in business, trick the guy? Are you allowed to mislead him? And the answer is no, absolutely not. There's no difference between the Jew and the non-Jew. We're not allowed to mislead one another. In any case, if a person misleads himself, you didn't offer him information, but he on his own decided to do X, Y, Z, or he thought you're doing him this favor, then you don't have to correct it. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day.
Merit the schus of spreading Torah throughout the world. Sponsor a shir today. MDYsponsor.com or sponsor at MDYDaf.com.